Alright, good morning everyone, happy Sunday and welcome back. So today we have another review, quick updates though, as I mentioned before on Instagram and whatnot. Blackwing Grocery, basically we have just a few jars left of Superior Pomade, and after this we will be out because next season, new pomade, new everything, and that's kind of like a personal challenge I wanted to take on, was to essentially new season, new pomade, create something new every single time, something that is convenient for the season and also just completely new, allowing us to kind of just break ground and try something different. But also with this new season, because of the huge success last season, we'll be doing much more than just pomade and just really breaking ground with the brand. Anyways, just quick updates on that side. But today we'll be looking at a new product from Templeton Tonics. If you guys remember before, we looked at their summit, loved it. We've also now have their new clay, Oasis. And so this is a new water-based clay. You guys know that we really appreciate, we really love the convenience of it. And so I'm very excited to really just give this one a try and see how it kind of compares to other kind of water-based clays we've seen before or currently have access to. But yeah, so sorry if I looking at the jar. So this is it. It definitely keeps in line with kind of the look and feel of the other jars in the brand. And so you have kind of like an image in the same style on the top, very large, on the lid. Then you have Oasis spelled out, branding, additional branding. You have ingredients here. I believe the sticker designates like the scent. Here I believe we have the ritual scent in this one, because the nice thing about Templeton Tonics is that you can always choose from a pre-selected list of scents for your product, which is logistically very challenging to do. Kind of more information about the product, and yeah, so this is your standard 4-ounce plastic, and inside you will see it has a very typical warm neutral gray kind of finish, as we're kind of accustomed to with many clays now. Alright, let's use it. So with the scent of this one, I mean, once again, this being the ritual scent, you can read the exact kind of notes you would expect to kind of smell off their website, but what I kind of detect myself is mostly the sage and the spiced vanilla. So what it becomes is there is a sweetness to it, but it's not like a fruit or a tangy sweetness. It's definitely just the vanilla, and there's this herbalness that isn't refreshing, but instead just very, I guess, powerful and smooth is the best way to really put it. Overall, it's a very nice scent. I'm very impressed. But applying it now and seeing how it works. So it scoops out, interesting, kind of a lot more brittle than I expect. So it's almost like you're scooping out coconut oil. If anyone who's accustomed to using coconut oil for cooking, it scoops out a little brittle. It kind of starts to break away once you apply force to it, but kind of breaking it down in my hands now, it definitely goes to a smoother, applicable, more applicable, pomade, no problem. But the grippiness I can already feel in my hair. So right now, just the overall experience of it is definitely very strange and unexpected. So what kind of feels like coconut oil, or something that kind of feels waxy when you scoop it out, and then when you kind of start agitating it in your hands, it really breaks down to something super soft and very wet. But then once you start applying it, it becomes very grippy, kind of promises a good amount of hold, and is something kind of reminiscent of something we typically see with I don't know, a flagship product. The application reminds me of straight up Malika. Scooping it out, it reminds me of coconut oil, and the way it feels in the hands, I don't know if I've really seen another product that really just gets as wet as that in the hands. But I mean, it feels super grippy right now. Almost a little difficult to apply in a way, especially now that my hair is pretty long right now. But I'm gonna try to get one more application in because I want to try to get it like underneath my pomp where I'm gonna really need it. Just because it's been so grippy, it's hard to kind of move it around once it touches the hair. I mean, we'll obviously see during the styling portion like how effective the application was, but this is just based on my instinct right now. Alright, so with that done, go ahead and just rinse my hands a bit. And I mean, we'll still treat it like any other product. As always, we'll comb it through, which is just trying to make sure that things were like evenly applied. We didn't really kind of have over concentration of product anywhere. So despite like the crazy application, combing it through is pretty easy. And go ahead, start styling. So before I kind of texture it up, I wanted to kind of just show you guys that you can style a clean pomp out of this. It can get really tall. You can get excellent shape. And as you can see, it's been a long time since I had my hair this long, even on the sides. Like, I just been so lazy to like get a haircut, which really presents a true challenge for Oasis today to style. And the fact that it can still style such a rowdy hair right now is very impressive, and it's very remarkable and should be noted. Obviously we have like great height, great shape. The styling process was very like easy to work with, and texturing up is definitely more than possible. So I do want to clean up the front though, kind of texture up a little too much there, but the texture is definitely very coarse and is definitely how you would want it to. Like, I didn't get any stray hairs from texturing it up. It still feels very formidable, like the pomp, I mean. And overall, like, my sides are also kind of relaxed, which is very surprising for a water base. Like, typically water base, because the water content just activates my hair, it sticks up, but I think the clay really forces it to kind of, I don't want to say dry out, but it does force it to relax, and like my hair doesn't reactivate in the same way that it typically does when kind of in contact with water. But yeah, overall, very impressed with the styling characteristics of it. Definitely like a strong hold product. Medium firm in the weight, but like strong hold for sure. This is some strong ass shit. So I'm kind of just going over everything again, just to be clear. So consistency, it scoops out like kind of a really solid like coconut oil or some sort of oil that is solid at room temperature, because then once you agitate it, it really breaks down and gets actually really wet. Not oily, it gets really like wet, it feels wet. But application, that water is absorbed quickly and it will get grippy very fast. Honestly, it was pretty discomforting. Me being on the super sensitive side, so for you guys with more thicker, like with thicker kind of, I guess more resilient hair, it might not be an issue, but for some people like us who have very fine like hair, it's pretty discomforting. But combing it through is pretty easy. Working with it is much easier. The shine is, I would say, a neutral. It's actually doesn't look matte to me. Doesn't look like there's even a luster. It's just very neutral, very balanced. The slickness or like the stickiness and like the texture. So there is a lot of stick to this. It's like a glue, like kind of tackiness to it, and that's balanced out by like the clay, which kind of dries things out and kind of keeping that tackiness in check. And so you can go for texture look, you can opt without a textured look, but you can go either way. The volume is pretty ridiculous, the strength is absurdly strong, and you should be able to get a pretty damn beautiful, tall, and surprisingly well-shaped pomp out of it. Because typically strongholds get too strong and the shape kind of gets sacrificed there. But anyways, go throughout the whole day now and we'll come back in a few hours to talk about how well it performed through the day. Alright, so we've been at it for enough hours now, so let's go ahead and take a look at how the hair looks at the end of the day. So overall, I'm very impressed. Just based on how it felt super kind of like resilient, it felt super strong and gunky in a way in the morning. So we would expect it to be like very good at holding up through the day, and it did extremely well. Definitely like only very minimal sagging, like very minimal loss of volume. There is some mattening to the hair, as in like the matte effect kind of comes more through. It goes from neutral to a slight matte finish. The tackiness becomes a little duller, but ever still like present, and the product itself is still very much like present. The texture becomes a little drier, so it becomes a little finer. You can possibly get a few strays, but other than that, like your pomp will likely stay for a majority, if not your entire day, and that's impressive. And for clay, that's amazing. So definitely very notable in that regard. Restyling, you can definitely get away with without water. It works. It is on the dry side, and you will, what's the best way to describe it? It won't puff away, but the tackiness will be kind of exponentially lost as you continue to work with it without a water source. But totally doable. And overall, like, it's very impressive how it feels throughout the whole day, but I will say it's still has that thickness, that gunkiness, that pastiness through the day, which gives it like a very pseudo heavy feel. Like it's very present here. If you want something light that's like kind of airy, relaxing, clean, like our Arcadian clay pomade, this is the opposite. This is the complete opposite of Arcadian clay pomade. Like this is at the other extreme, as like strong as we've ever seen, as like just high volume, as like tacky, as like sticky as we've ever, like it's on the other side of the spectrum. So definitely very different, definitely honestly worthwhile to see. Rinsing it out, washes it away with just water, very easily washed, and yeah, I mean, hands down, no question, receives my seal of approval, because it is so different from the clay pomades that we've seen in the recent past. It is super strong. It is absurdly strong. A medium like firm weight performance, you get like a super tall but still well shaped like pompadour out of it, and so the styling characteristics are magnificent. But the downside is that in order to get that hold, it is very grippy. It can be very uncomfortable to apply depending on how you do it, and it doesn't feel clean throughout the day. Like it's present, it feels gunky, it feels a little sticky and whatnot, and so you trade a bit like the low refined characteristics in order to get something that performs just out of the park. So just keep that in mind, but super worthwhile. I would recommend checking it out just because how starkly different it is than the other things we've seen. But yeah, so this has been a review for Oasis Clay by Templeton Tonics. We do offer, as always, our promo code, the Pomp, all caps, to save money. If you guys choose to order some of this, obviously we encourage you to go directly with them, which you can use the promo code in order to save money, because these are small businesses. It makes a huge difference when you guys support them. And so yeah, hope you guys had something out of this review, and other than that, take care, fam.